Good morning, everyone. This morning, I have the very great pleasure of chatting with Heather Rickard. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Brenda. I've been watching your lives and the things you've been doing this month to kick off the year, and they've been really impressive. So I feel honoured to be part of that group.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing. Everyone, if you don't know me, my name's Brenda Rogers. I'm a naturopath, amongst other things. And in my life through corporate health, I have met and become friends with Heather. And I think it's probably 10 years now, Heather, that we've known each other, and I've watched you change careers. But I really wanted to interview Heather and introduce her to you because she's successful in the network marketing industry. And it's a beautiful business model for women. And I'd really like to illustrate to you all an example, a shining example of what success in this industry can look like. And, I'm going to ask you some questions, Heather, about who's it right for and who's it not right for and why were you successful. But first of all, just tell us a little bit about your network marketing story.
Absolutely. I'm pleased to. And before I do that, there's a few noises in the background. That's because I'm a grandmother of twin boys who are they'll be 4 in April, and they light up my life, and they're in the background. So yeah, that's just to cover off that. If anybody can hear them.
That's fine.
And also, one other thing I wanted to say is that, as women, isn't it funny that I just hid the picture of myself so I can just concentrate and be present with you? Because I don't know about you, but however much we just want to be at one with ourselves, when we're on Zoom, we still find ourselves, neatening our hair, watching for this little bit of, what's this sticking out here, and it's just, and then as I do it, I think, just breathe. We're all women, we're all, in the same position. We all do that. I shouldn't say we all, because I'm sure there's some who never ever do, but a lot of us do. And I just thought I'd share that because it's so much nicer now I've hidden myself and I'm not even distracted by looking at my own picture. I'm just with you on this. So
Thank you. Thank you. Presence is so important.
absolutely. And you, I must say, do it beautifully and really well. You really feel connected and feel that you're the only person that you're talking to when you talk to you. So, yeah, big kudos to you on that. Okay, so my network marketing story. Well, it actually goes back to when I was 18 years old. Actually, no, well, 18 years old, yes, I got married and moved to New Zealand from England. So I was I believe, a very mature 18-year-old to make that huge decision to move across the globe to get married. And in a couple of weeks' time, I'll be celebrating my 43rd wedding anniversary. So
Wow. Congrats.
actually, no, 44th. My husband always corrects me. I always get it wrong. He gets it right. 44. Okay, so yeah, 44 years. So after that, I, worked for a while. Then we decided to have a family, and I was blessed with a beautiful daughter, Angela, and she was 6 months old. And there was that big decision. What do you do? Do you go back to work full time and put her into care, or do you find something that's going to fit in around us? And that's what I did. I saw an ad that said part-time work, full-time money, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. And I got involved in, at that stage, it was the party plan industry with a jewelry company called Emma Page Jewelry back in New Zealand. And I loved it. I just thrived because suddenly I was Heather Rickard. I was achieving success. I wasn't, I always used to say, I'm Mike's daughter. That's my dad. I was Mike's daughter, or I was Neil's wife, or I was, Angie's mum as a new baby. But in this, I was Heather Rickard. I was so happy. It just taught me. I can't tell you how much it taught me. I actually worked with that company for 8 years. So 4 years in New Zealand, and then I was honoured by the fact that they moved me to Australia and the whole family. and a nanny. I was just absolutely had a brilliant experience of a company really taking me and looking after me, bringing me over here, and I worked with them for a further 4 years then. So that was I call it my apprenticeship. That was the beginning of my network marketing, party plan, direct selling career. And I learned so much. I learned, the skills of connection. I learned the rapport skills. I learned leadership skills, sales skills, just so much. So, it was like a education that I was being paid to do. And move from one country to another. It was quite sensational. And I'm forever blessed to Raymond Vidal, who was actually the owner and founder of that company, who has now passed away. But he taught me so much in those early years. He also taught me a few things not to do. But anyway,
that's a good mentor, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I won't go through my whole career in the industry, but from then on, I had a little dabble in insurance, and the insurance industry was so different. Just culturally, it was just poles apart. So, I was there for a while, and I succeeded, but I got drawn back into Party Plan. And then I embarked on a corporate career in Party Plan, which I again loved, giving back to the people, and you know what that's like, actually training and working with the teams and seeing them succeed and being up on there on stage, and I can almost feel the buzz now.
Traveling around the world.
Yeah, my first overseas trip with the first company I worked for as a corporate was to Disneyland, and I got to take my kids.
Wow.
And with that company, I think I did 5 or 6. And actually, there's we have triggers in our mind, don't we, of things that really are amazing for you. And we always recognize the field, but we very often don't recognize the corporate staff. And they gave me a recognition at one of the big awards, and they played that song, the Tina Turner Simply the Best song. And I still get goosebumps and emotional reaction when I hear that song or think about that moment of being recognized for the work I was putting in. So that's my corporate side. I then, for a while, actually did a recruitment. So that's executive recruitment for the industry. And there was a part of that I loved, because I absolutely knew, having worked in corporate and what we call field, which is running your own business, I loved combining the two, being able to talk to a company about what they really needed in their corporate team and understanding it, and knowing my candidates inside out, and then matching the two. I loved that. Probably what I didn't love about that industry was it's very fickle, and people, do a lot of work with you, and then they go, okay,
Not very loyal.
Yeah, they're not loyal. That's probably the better word. They're not loyal. So anyway, I did a good stint in there, 5 years, and during that time, I actually got introduced and met with Isagenix, which is the company I now represent. And so the beauty of my relationship with Isagenix is I met them in their boardroom. I met them, I got to know them, I got to see the culture behind what you see up front. And I believe that is so important. And that actually takes me back to Raymond Vidal. I got to see both with him too. And I was so impressed. I was impressed by the products. I was impressed by the culture and the integrity of the company, even in the short time I worked with them. I was impressed by the general manager of the time, who is actually now CEO, living in the US. So she was the Australian general manager, and she's over there heading up the whole of Isagenix, which is, just an amazing feat for an Australian corporate direct selling woman.
So you're really talking about matching who you are with the company that you, because you look healthy, you have a health story, and so you're talking really about success in network marketing being a values alignment with a company.
Absolutely. You're so right. You've nailed it. It is looking at what is important to you? What are your values? What are the things that, light your fire? Because, health and fitness and feeling great as a, 62-year-old, feeling good, feeling vibrant, that's what lights me up. And helping other women to do that simply and with ease is just, excites me. At the same time, the business model excites me because I see, young women who really are struggling with children, with the conflict in their minds of wanting to be a mum and wanting to be present with their kids, but at the same time, wanting to be a have a career and have something that, as I said, I became Heather Rickard at that time. I became Heather, and that's so important. We need to, feed ourselves. So it gives you the best of both worlds, but you do need to be aligned with it, and feel comfortable with it. And I have very good friends who are in other network marketing companies, other party plan companies, and I admire them. We bounce ideas off each other. We support each other, and we use each other's products. So I just think that that's so important. Yeah, so you're right, it's finding the right place, and some people it takes a while. So do I reach out to other people in other companies? No, I'm not into going out there and targeting a company or anything like that. But what I do know is that by what I express as to how comfortable and at ease I am with what I'm doing, that if other people are feeling a little bit like they're a square peg in a round hole, they might come and talk to me about what is right. And there's people who I've given career counseling to, who've ended up joining my team, and that wasn't the intention of the conversation, but it was helping with them finding their, well, again, what lights their fire. One of my favorite Bruce Springsteen songs, by the way.
So, because I don't know if the audience knows, but I was in corporate network marketing for 10 years myself, a couple of different companies. And there were the people who jumped different companies because they weren't successful in this one and they weren't successful in this one, and they were really looking outside of themselves for the success. And then there were the ones who just needed the right leadership and the right team to be successful. So what qualities do you think are important for a successful network marketer? You've got background noise, have you?
Yeah, it wasn't only children, there's motorbikes going by now, so I just muted myself for a second. This is real life. We always say when we're doing lives, you're dealing with real life. Cats, dogs, kids, motorbikes.
And you're on the road at the moment. You're traveling around in a Winnebago visiting places because you can, right? Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So did you get my question?
Yes, I did get your question. Yeah, I got that. Yes. So, what makes a great network marketer? Okay, so I'm going to think of someone because I think that it's always easier if you think of someone. And she is one of my beautiful leaders who I work with in Perth. So she is confident in herself. She is, she's got posture. She knows what she wants, and she has very clearly defined goals. She is.
Did she start that way, or did she become that?
Okay, thank you for asking that, because somehow I was going to weave that in, and you beautifully pointed it out. No, when she started with us, she did have it, but she'd done 4 years with another company. And she started just learning the skills, learning how to build a network, learning how to promote a product. And one of the great things about our industry is if you're with the right company, you get amazing training, and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. So I have to say, if it's costing you a lot, then unless you've got a whole lot, it's always a little bit of a worrying thing to me. It should be very inclusive in what you're doing.
I
So
agree. Yes.
it is a personal development journey that you are paid to do. So while you're doing it, you're earning maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, whatever, but you're getting personal development all the way along the way. That's mentors, it's training, it's education, all sorts of different things mashed in. And you were very much involved in that with the company you were with, providing that. And can you imagine, I mean, someone like Brenda being able to, you know, support and help the field? It was just amazing. I think back to those first days, the first conversations we had, and you know, that was I think in my recruitment days when I was recruiting. So I was obviously talking to you as a staff member. But back to the skills bit. Should I get back to that?
Yeah.
So posture, confidence, having a real fire in your belly to achieve something. And that, you know, that is the difference that makes the difference. And I might just deviate for a second to something we were talking about earlier on before we came on, which was drawing a line in the sand and making a decision about what you want. I think that comes from having a fire in your belly. So something is inside of you that you want to make a change, whether it be a health change, whether it be a financial change, whether it be a personal change. And that sort of lights, it's almost like that lights the fire in your belly. And then with that fire in your belly, you can go out there and do anything if you then stick to those decisions that you made. So drawing a line in the sand, deciding you want a different life in some area of your life, and then sticking and being consistent with the choices that you made. You know, it's like someone coming to you, Brenda, and deciding, look, I have had enough of feeling sick and tired, and I'm going to make a change. So they come to you, they have, you know, a consultation, they spend some time with you, but then it's up to them. You know, you're there to support them and hold their hand and give them the guidance, but it's up to them whether they're going to make those changes on a consistent and ongoing basis. So it's very much the same in our industry. I do tend to, and this is where I'm checking about the fire in the belly, I do tend to give people small tasks for them to do. It might be as simple as, if there's someone who's not confident talking to strangers, hey, go and say hello or compliment someone today. And tell them that they look great in their outfit, or their, you know, their hair's looking good, or whatever, a genuine, authentic compliment. Because some people don't even ever do that because they're too scared of having that interaction, conversation with people. So I give people little tasks, and if they start coming back and say, done, then I know that there's someone that is worth, you know, me investing some time in, and for us to start working, because people have to make their own choices. So it's almost like they have to be interdependent. So they know they can work with me, but they need to be independent to actually take the action.
I love that. And I love that about network marketing, because, you know, one of the companies that I worked with, there are a lot of people for whom English was a second language, and yet it didn't matter. You know, it's not where you start in the business, it's where you end up, and it is a massive personal development journey, and that's just such a beautiful thing about the industry. It's really trying to build character in people, quality people, and I think of you like that as well. So yeah, it's great to hook into a good company and a good team, and there's many around, very good companies. And I'm glad you found your one. Sorry, I was just going to ask, because we've got about 5 minutes, I'd love to just hear what you've personally gained from, you know, the growth that you've achieved and the experiences that you've had. There's probably multiple, but, you know, the joyful side, or even the challenge that's opened up a new side of yourself, just to give us a little bit of an idea of how you've transformed over the last 10 years.
Okay. You know, funny story, back when I was 16, 17, I actually walked out of an English class at college because I didn't want to read a paragraph out loud, and the English lecturer was making me do it. And in my strength, I said, I'll do anything. I'll set do the other task, but I'm not going to read out loud, because it fills me with terror. That's how scared I was of any kind of public speaking back then. So when I know now that I can hop on this and do a live with you and have this conversation and feel totally comfortable and at ease, when I know that if I had to speak in front of 500 people, I would prepare, but I could do it, that is, this industry has given me that. And it is, you know, it is quite amazing, that whole growth part. The next growth part is my family and my children and my husband. You know, 44 years married, you know, a 40-year-old daughter, a 37 just turned, a 37-year-old daughter, who are independent women who've grown up with, you know, visualizing with, I remember my daughter once, the dentist said to her, I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over with stories, but they're fun, aren't they? My daughter, the dentist said that she was going to have extractions because of her teeth, because they were all crooked. And she said, Mum, that's not going to happen. And she started visualizing her teeth going, you know, just being right. And she went back like 2 months later and he went, oh, we don't need to take any teeth out. She was like, yes.
Wow.
So, you know, it's a funny story, but I remember her, you know, they've both really known that if they put it out there, they can achieve it. And you know, that is worth, oh my goodness, it fills your heart if you can bring your children up with that kind of attitude to life, and knowing that, you know, they can, if one of us in the household is giving ourselves a hard time, they look at you like, hang on a minute, you don't use language like that about yourself, you don't talk to yourself like that. They've been brought up with this beautiful environment which is nurturing and supportive and inspirational. You know, that is bigger than anything. So that, my own personal development as an individual, being able to, you know, communicate, and the relationships, you know, I have some beautiful friendships and rich relationships that have purely come from this industry. And to know that I can go to people and feel comfortable and feel me and just be me, is huge. And I suppose travel, you know, that's there, but it really is at the end, because those other things are so much more important.
And you didn't even talk about the money.
Ah,
I love it. A businesswoman, not me. And you know, all of those intangibles are the real reward and the real joy for what you're doing, which is just what we're all about in this group, you know, this
absolutely.
Women's Wisdom Lounge.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out. And you know, yes, it's great that we can, at the age we are, travel in our Winnebago. I know that we're going to move into our own place in a year, but use this year to really explore, you know, Australia and do some travel. So yeah, and I take my business with me, take my mobile phone. I don't take this huge Mac computer because I don't need it. I can do everything from my mobile phone and a tablet. So yeah, it's awesome.
So just to finish off, I'm promoting my retreat at the moment, and the kind of the message for the retreat is to gather strength of spirit for 2022. And I think that if you're watching this at the beginning of 2022, then it's relevant. Maybe if it's 2023, it might be relevant again. But you know, what's your prediction and your advice for, you know, the challenges we've been through, and this year is not going to be much different? Just as a leader of a community and a tribe, what are you saying that is, or even doing for yourself to keep your spirits high during these challenging times?
That's a great question, Brenda. And the first thing that comes to mind is personal responsibility. Is just taking responsibility for yourself, your values, your viewpoints, and being true to yourself. Because I think we can get so caught up in all the stuff that's out there. And I am probably the extreme in that, where I'm in my bubble and I'm super happy. And, you know, some people call me Pollyanna, but I do. But that gives me strength, and it gives me the strength to help others as well. But I really believe that if we take personal responsibility for ourselves, number one, and number two, to make a difference for others, one step at a time.
Mm,
You know, the beautiful starfish story, that
mm,
beautiful story about, all the starfish on the beach that were stranded. And, yeah, exactly. The man that they thought he was dancing, but he was actually throwing the starfish back into the ocean. And the person who was watching said, yes, but you can't possibly make a difference. And he said, I made a difference for that one.
mm,
And that, if ever, just Google the starfish story and you'll find it. It's a beautiful story. But that's it. We can make a difference one step at a time, one person at a time. And the first person has to be you. You have to start with you. So if you this year have, are looking at this year as a bit of a challenge and a bit of a hurdle to get through the first month, then, breathe, stop, just stop for a
mm,
second and concentrate on what you can be responsible for, what you
mm.
can change yourself, and start from there. Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful way to end. And I have to say, I think I've done exactly the same thing. I've put this deliberate bubble around me so that I'm not drawn into the fear and the negative messaging. And I love it. I love it being in my own bubble. It's not ignorance, it's not hiding away, it's self-protection. And I think that's very wise, sage advice, Heather. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate that. And come back again.
I will, and thank you so much for asking beautiful questions and having such a really rich interaction. So thank you, Brenda.
So I'm going to share this on a few other platforms as well. So if you're not watching this, if you're watching this recording, maybe in LinkedIn or other places, then look out below in the comments for links to Heather. Or if not, Heather, give us your best contact website or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put everything in the links. But you'll find me pretty easily on Facebook, Heather Rickard. On LinkedIn, you'll find me. If you're connected with Brenda, you'll find me really easily. Or you know what? Just pick up the phone. Give me a call. I'll put my phone number there as well because there's nothing nicer these days than actually getting a phone call of someone saying,
Mm.
"Hey, hi, let's have a chat." And you might just want to pick my brains about the industry and where's the right place for you. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Very generous. All right. Well, till next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'll look forward to coming back. Bye.